It does amaze me when people come in, and it doesn't happen too often, people will come into court without a lawyer for that, for drink driving. The consequences of being convicted for drink driving is a disqualification. And the knock-on effects of that are, everybody knows. It could affect your job, your ability to earn, your mortgage, everything. It's huge. And if a person comes into court, every judge I've ever seen will always advise that person that they should get legal advice, because the consequences are severe. And they don't want to be imposing any penalties on a person unless they've been properly advised. So yeah, you should, certainly. At least speak to a lawyer about it. Yeah.
The first day in court, talk us through.
Well, the first day in court, they turn up to court. It gets adjourned, as I said, for about 8 weeks to allow the statements to come in, the Garda statements. Once you have those, then you know their point of view. I already know what my client's point of view is. They've told me, they've written it out in an email. But then I have the guard's point of view, and then we meet up again and we go through it, and I ask the client to look at their account and to agree or disagree with things that the guard's saying. Sometimes the things that the guard's saying they'll agree with, sometimes they'll disagree with, and you then work on to see whether or not there's been any procedural errors made or any area of the law not followed correctly. And if there is, then you may have a good defence to the charge on that. Even when I was in the Guards, if we pulled over a car and I was the person who got out to speak to the person, or I was the other guard who sat in the car, the same conversation would always happen when the guard came back to the car, and the conversation was, what was the attitude like? What was the attitude of the driver like? And if that driver was pleasant and cooperative, even if they'd done something kind of slightly wrong, chances are the guard would kind of, most of the time, you kind of tell them about it and bring it to their attention, and that'd be the end of it. But if you got cheek or back chat, or got a stream of abuse, chances are that person's going to go to court. So your demeanour on the side of the road goes an awful long way.
And what happens then after that? Like, will I stay in the Garda station all night?
No. Unless you were really intoxicated, and that's rarely the case, you'd be kept there. They can't release you if you're a danger to yourself or to the public. So you could be very, very badly drunk, and you could go through the process of giving a blood or urine or breath specimen. But if the member in charge in the station has a legitimate fear that you might be a danger to yourself or other people if you were let out, they have to keep you there until you sober up. That doesn't often happen. In most cases, people are released straight away after they've given the specimen.